only on WINNMedia 98.9. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade, Gwen Johnson.
Morning.
Okay, some energy there. What's going on?
Me no.
She feel free.
Oh, we're finally out on parole. Oh my gosh. We are out on somebody bailed us. Somebody. Y'all please don't overdo it. We don't want it. Anyway. I'm gonna save my words because y'all ain't gonna listen anyway.
Yeah. Jade. Jade refuses to hope against hope.
Not really.
In this
Sounds fair.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there, done that, failed. So it's okay. Y'all just do whatever. I guess.
Yeah. What everybody doing though? How are you doing, Jade?
I'm okay.
Good we are.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Good we are. See, there we go.
I'm going to put out a conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Early.
I think that the government recognizing that we needed something chose to have this outbreak happen exactly during this time.
Oh boy.
During this time, just so that we could really enjoy all that was happening over the last couple of weeks, culminating with yesterday and this weekend actually. It can't be a coincidence, Jade, that our quarantine ends exactly the same time as the Wimbledon Championships, the Copa America, big up Argentina one time, the what you call it there, the Euro, and we still got some NBA final action just to smooth it out, and the Tour de France.
All right.
And the Tour de France. So you think it's a coincidence that this is the exact week? All I want to do is say thank you. And if by chance we do end up going back into lockdown right at whenever it's the same time as the 100-meter finals at the Olympics, we're gonna know exactly what it is. We're gonna know exactly what it is. It's all a plan. But that being said, I was very excited this weekend. I had a lot to look at. For sports fans in particular, it was a weekend to remember.
Oh, yeah.
It was a weekend to remember.
Non-sports fans too, I assume. Azem, why are you freezing us?
Jade,
Okay,
I feel nice.
Okay, it's not you. Okay, it's me. Never mind.
It's all.
It always is you, Jade.
It's okay.
Always.
I've been eating my greens, at least. I'm trying.
Your greens or your greens?
Greens.
Oh, your greens.
Yes, I've been eating my greens.
Yeah, you got put greens in everything you're eating based on what I'm seeing, Jade.
Yeah.
Put greens in your rice, greens in your water.
Oh boy. Good morning with you say I am back to work and I am not I am not pleased.
Hey,
I thought that's what you all wanted.
this is the thing to, by like there's a person with every argument. So you always feel like when somebody states their position in isolation, is always like, well, you're going against the grain. It don't matter what So some people out there like happy to go back out to work today, and it's like people going, you wasn't glad for the rest. Then you say, but I can't believe I have to go out to work today. Ain't I wanted? Like,
Yep, that's literally it. Some people woke up today and was pissed.
Bye.
And then some people woke up today and was very happy,
Yeah.
very excited, laid out their outfit the night before.
Night before, 2 weeks ago.
Since we locked down,
Since we locked down, they had their clothes ready.
just in case.
But
Yeah, ready. They put them on a hanger and put them in the closet, the whole outfit.
Shoes on off.
Shoes.
Shoes
Tie the
on.
shoelaces and hook it around
Yeah,
the neck of the hanger.
That don't
Right.
be me when we allowed to enjoy some type of fitting. That will literally be me. And Kevon, I'm sure.
yeah, Kevon said he ain't fit until 2024.
Kevon, like.
No, I didn't say. I said I'm looking forward to the next fete. Whenever that may be.
You don't lie on my friend like that. You
No,
do not
I thought he
say
said that, recognizing
Do not tell
the
lies
threat
on
that
me.
still exists.
Mm-mm.
He can't see himself fully enjoying the fit. Or maybe he just said he wouldn't
Which
enjoy
is
it in the same
correct.
way. In the same way.
Which is correct.
Yeah.
You know, I have to be responsible, and as such, I don't see myself fitting in a capacity that is what I truly enjoy, and that is for the sake of being responsible.
Mm.
I can send you the videos from he fitting.
Oh, I am afraid.
You can know that.
I am afraid. But it's interesting how we've really come a long way. Here we are, black people begging to be able to go back to work.
Boy, what
We've
a
come
time.
a long way. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive.
2020 and 2021 don't make no sense.
Oh boy.
Because, usually when we hear like, oh, we don't have to go work, it's like, yes. The problem is, not only can't we go to work, we can't go anywhere at all.
But you see, that is my argument. My argument is that people ain't actually want to go to work, It's just that work is the most plausible reason for you to want to go back out.
Yeah. Yeah. People just want to go sit at their desk or just be able to walk 4th Street.
People just want to be
You
able
can
to do
walk
what they
4th
want.
Street again.
Huh?
You can walk 4th Street again.
How long I think this is gonna last?
You mean without the vendors?
Yeah, how long I think this is gonna last? Let's take bets.
I that's a difficult thing to answer, to be honest, because I want to have faith and say it's going to work. However, I feel like one by one they're gonna creep out. Those stop motion videos,
Right.
like how they just freeze and I feel
Yeah.
like that's when it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna just start creeping back out to this thing. Because for a long time, we understand that the street vendors, their businesses and it's the way they make their livelihood. Kudos to y'all. However, y'all cannot occupy 70% of the sidewalk and also conduct business
In the city
on the
center.
other 30% of the sidewalk and expect
In the
traffic,
city center.
well,
Yeah.
put traffic to work properly, because people have to step into the road to conduct business and then go back onto the sidewalk. It's already not much anyway. I mean, let's stay away. Think of it better. you're more likely to get business, I guess, when people come into the market, because they'll stroll around, versus
The thing is, the public market traditionally has been, a place where people go for mainly agricultural produce, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the question that is on the minds and the hearts and the armpits of people is where they're gonna get the other one from now. Where are we going to get the other one now?
3 for 10?
3 for 10. Watch here. I see a woman selling Avon roll-on. I know them they got to be at least 20 years old. Where you find Avon roll-on in 20? What about it? Watch here. I see a woman.
The sweet part is that the brown one with the ball on it. Right?
Wild something.
I don't know what it's called.
Exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what I mean.
Something.
Watch here. I see a lady. Okay, this wasn't like just prior to COVID. This might have been like 2000. This might have been like 2019. I see a woman selling Razak and Central Street. Razak.
Can't be good. It can't be good.
I say, why in the Twilight Zone? I thought I was dreaming. I thought I was in a nightmare.
You said Razak and I got an instant headache.
But I like, wait, what's happening?
That is the sweetest cream ever produced.
It wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweet.
It wasn't. Where was?
Sweet isn't the term I would use to. Intrusive, perhaps. Intrusive.
Oh boy.
Razak is the lotion equivalent to alien invasion. Yeah? You just take over everything.
It's true. But that's a good point. That it's I would like to see how the non-traditional vendors are going to operate in the market, because I think the stalls were. I don't think they were built for that. I think they were built to showcase produce. Am I wrong? What?
I mean, the stalls are just stalls. Like, if you're selling roll-on, you put them up. But the thing about it is,
I like it because then now you get to go to one central location to find an abundance of things instead of having to walk from one end of 4th Street to the other.
what happened to that one was the Amina Craft Market? That's the one behind the Treasury? The one like in between the Pelican Mall and the Treasury up here? That's Amina, that's the one, that's what her name?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
So, like, what's going on with that one there?
I think they're just...
You mean the one that's been empty forever?
Never mind.
There are a few craft vendors that I know used to be in here, but most of the stalls seem to be empty most of the time.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know, maybe they were for rent, right?
I don't know. Therefore,
I think so.
have to pay. Yeah, most likely have to pay.
Maybe they were just a little costly for what the traditional vendors.
It might not have been costly, but it's been more than just a random street corner. In other words, $5 might have been more than what I had to pay to just set up on Central Street somewhere.
That's true as well, because it was. What I didn't like about that personally, the fact that the people that you set up in front of are paying for their spot, and you just come and just set up, and that's it.
You block the door selling the same exact thing.
And they're paying for.
But that's the thing too. We saw a lot of businesses complaining that vendors are sort of turning away business because not only are they congesting the facade of the building, but they're also sometimes selling the same things at the inside. So it's like, I catch you first, so I get your sale, and then not that competition can exist, but I mean it's a bit.
It's not even about competition.
Unfair.
It's literally I'm paying for a spot, paying all this money, and you just come and set up in front of me. That's like unfair to the business who actually, like, paying.
You remember this woman who? I don't say the woman. This lady was there selling like mass in front of a business in town for less than what the business inside was selling it for, and that was your marketing pitch. Like, we getting for mass? No, India selling them for such and such. I sell them for such and such. Tech tree, man, tech tree.
Imagine that, Boy, that's wild. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the market is going to be set up. Somebody said the Amina Craft Market is a market for vendors for the touristy products.
So how you going to decide
Okay,
to say
so-
what I roll on?
You can ask me that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, the craft vendors use some money go there, but you tell me.
yeah, I get it, because how do you decide that Avon
Craft
roll on
market.
in
Craft market.
a
A roll on
tourism
in a
product?
craft?
What?
A roll on is not
Jade, you're a graphic designer. Everything is craft.
It is not that type of craft.
What is that kind?
Like it's not a
Touristy?
Yes, it's not a homemade roll on. How you gonna leave? I leave America where Avon is 99 cents to come here to buy.
Jade, you got people up behind there selling things made in Korea.
You know what I mean? Stop it. Stop it. See somebody shouting after you? Stop.
Oh,
How
okay
you
then.
gonna say Avon in well?
Okay, Hugo selling Avon. It might have been
That's
Hugo.
a- wait,
It might have been.
that's
It might have been Hugo who was on Central Street.
That's a Avon seller.
It might have been Hugo who is on the side of the
you're
road.
messing with business, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that, Azem.
Oh boy.
How do you guys feel about all the traffic that is back? It was good having to not drive through traffic. I'm not
people-
anticipating having to tell people excuse 3 times because they decide
Oh
to
my
stand in
gosh.
the middle of the sidewalk.
I loved
boy.
driving around the past 2 weeks in particular.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, but I even this morning I was there thinking, me, I'm gonna leave a little earlier today
To beat traffic.
to beat traffic.
Yeah.
Traffic.
People.
The good thing is though that the schools are still closed.
Yes.
So that definitely helps. When the schools open, it'll just be a whole
Oh, no,
different.
that's different
yeah,
now.
that's a whole different level of traffic. So it's almost like we're being weaned back into traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. You wanna?
What y'all think then do with school? Y'all think then open school a couple of weeks early?
When is school supposed to open?
Usually
I don't know, yeah.
That's right there, no man.
No, I mean school
Well,
did close a
you
month
know,
early.
So you think
What I
it's
saw happen in Jamaica, which was interesting to me, is Jamaica has decided to introduce summer school to compensate for what students have missed during the pandemic. Which is an interesting dynamic because I
on,
mean,
come on.
it sounds good. Yes.
Sorry, we have.
Let's check and see if we have a
Yeah,
caller
we
here.
have, yeah.
Caller,
Okay.
good morning. You're live on Island T.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, morning.
Remember vacation time start today.
Hmm.
All ones, school vacation start, eh?
I think they've
All
been
the
on
primary
vacation.
school, secondary school, CLBC, everybody on vacation.
Yeah.
All the preschools open.
No, they're not.
No, because
No,
all
they-
the childhood close to, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the childhood
Childhood's
is
still
closed.
closed.
For when?
They didn't open it.
They didn't open back.
Oh, 'cause I heard him say that they could start.
Yeah, there was a communication that went out.
Always everybody on vacation.
Yeah,
Now,
good.
I have an idea for those who are thinking about the market. A little ingenuity, a little piece of cardboard. If where you usually sell, you should be able to put up maybe a sign, and not too big. Let your customers know I'm at the market and what days. Because they don't usually sell food on a Monday. So if you know you're going to be there from Tuesday to Friday or whatever, write it up, put it there. And in the market itself, I suggest to the vendors that they also make a small sign with a cardboard. Well, nowadays we do graphics, eh? You can get one of your children or grandchildren to do a nice graphic looking sign advertising your name facing the entrance. So when anybody comes into the market, they will see your sign. So they have got to get into the virtual, Get a Facebook, get a something, advertise yourself. And anything can be sold in the market. They have been selling clothes and so in the market a long time. I used to go to the market every Saturday. People selling deodorant, used clothing, new clothing, anything, because there are some stores in the market that would remain empty during the week, especially the farmers one. So there should not be any fear. You want to sell your deodorant, go in the market. But use your Facebook, whatever you have, and start to advertise yourself and your services and make signs where you used to be. So when the people come across, they know, oh, well, Azem down the market with food today. You get the idea?
I got you.
All right then.
Yeah. Right.
Well, you see, there's a little problem with that about the signs. I don't think you could just put up signs on businesses that have there are businesses that occupy most of those spaces. I don't think you could just put up a sign on their business.
Yeah, it's a bit, imagine you're paying for your space and somebody come and stick up a sign on your wall
to tell them go down to.
No.
I don't think they're gonna work.
Yeah. And then who knows? I don't know if I really want to be walking around and just be seeing these random signs either. But I mean, I guess the question is that a lot of the vendors are concerned about being found by their regulars, right?
And foot traffic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the foot traffic. So.
But yeah, she's right. Use social media too. I see a lot of these. They're on there looking news every day. Wrong news at that.
Do you?
So I mean, it's time to actually look up some news,
I won't.
Or some information.
Yeah, I won't comment too much on this because I don't really be on it. But it's like that's what I'm saying. So I'm not the best person to talk. But it's like I don't even know who half of these people are.
They're on social media. I've seen a lot of these.
The vendors?
Yeah.
The ones on this, okay.
Oh yes, on social media.
Nice.
So they've been utilizing it.
Okay.
I guess the ones who haven't started can start, but some of them have been using it to tell people that they're there from the days that they're there, the time, the specials, whatever new products they have. They're using it, man. Azem, I don't know if this question is for you or Kevon, because I know it's not for me. So
it's definitely for Kevon then.
Okay, for me and for you?
It's definitely for Kevon then.
Okay, so the person said, just recently a Super Mario game was sold for over $2 million. So my friend, what is the issue about the reason? Wasaka?
What?
Yeah, same.
I'm not seeing my reading.
This one. Yeah, I don't understand.
Oh, I may see that one.
It's on Facebook.
I don't know.
Yeah, but on Facebook, may see it.
No, I don't know. But
I don't know anything about a Super Mario game that sold for $2 million.
Yeah, I saw it because I just scrolled through my.
I told you.
What's it called? Well, no, I have Apple News, so I just scroll through and just sometimes read the headlines, and I saw that one. The N64, the old throwback console, an unsealed Super Mario copy was sold for almost $2 million, which is impressive to me. Which is what a lot of people do, like those game collectors that buy copies and never open them because they become like super valuable.
Collectible. Yeah.
Somebody cashed out.
Right. Jeez.
I always wonder why things like that. Why I guess because we don't really have as a society that huge disposable income. But why like things like that? We don't value things like that, eh? We have a lot of people. So. We have a lot of people who don't show nothing. But
literally.
we have a lot of hoarders, but in terms of a market for collectibles, that's just not part of our culture. Like
because on top of that too, if I had new like a Nova Conquerors, I would have not. I don't know if it would have lasted, but I would have kept a bag of Nova Conquerors for as long as I could have.
Yeah, I had a keyboard. That I was saving. Keyboard? Yeah, like a piano, like a digital piano. It was like one of the first like digital synthesizers. Like I managed to have one. At the time, it would have been like nothing when I got it. It would have been like cheap and thing. But I knew that in some years, no, it would have been worth money. And then I remember I went to college, and when I come back, like I asked my mother, like, where the keyboard that was upstairs and stuff. You don't use that, yeah? That there's somewhere over on the landfill.
One thing about Caribbean parents, they love to throw away.
If you ain't using, try.
Yes. Do not leave.
Well, the thing is, though, even though we do have a culture of people that like to hoard things, the problem also is the state of the item, because a lot of the hoarded items are not in great condition. So the resale value on that is not really much, if any at all. I mean, like,
Yeah.
what you're gonna sell a mashup something because you save it to fix.
Yeah, but
You know,
I think we just don't have that culture of
Yeah, of they buy and resell.
Yeah. We don't have that culture, which is why, you know, even things like, you know, it is, we like to be on the cutting edge. Like, we want to have the newest this, the newest that. It's always seems to be what we into. It's interesting. 'Cause even look at things like vehicles and stuff like that. We don't really have a lot of people who would have collected like the vehicles over the years and kept them and things like that. Like, they always want to be fresh, new. Yeah, it just ain't part of our culture.
Not at all.
Which is interesting, because I mean, I remember I used to go to this pawn shop that was close to the school.
Oh, pawn. You enunciate, please.
I did. You need to listen properly.
Oh.
Oh, Jade.
So I used to go to this pawn shop, and one day I saw this box, and it had like a bunch of mics in it. So I was like, okay, I'll just buy the whole box. They were selling it for something like $57. I think about for $57. And like most of them in there was trash, and most of them wasn't working. And then I found this one. It was like a Neumann mic, right? So I was like, okay, maybe worth something. So I took it to the school, because of course I have to get it. I want to see if it's working. And like while I'm in there, we're testing the mic. The first thing, it worked. That's the first thing.
That's important.
And then while there, one of the lecturers came in, and he was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Oh, it's some Neumann mic. I just found it at the pawn shop." He's like, "I'll give you $800 for it right now."
What?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
What you want it?
I'd be like, you would do $1,000?
Exactly.
And he's like, I'll give you 12. He gave me $1,200 for the mic.
Now, do you see, as a student, sold instantly, but it now makes me wonder what would that have been worth to a bigger market, you know, if you actually
yeah, for sure,
channels.
But bear in mind, I mean, like, this is like, I'm at school, so this is like a lecturer who, like, he had recorded like Jennifer Lopez and all, like, and he used to do like Kenny G albums and stuff like that. So he's somebody who, like,
right.
Yeah. And
the thing is, you know, he probably got that as a steal too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like, but people see the value in things like that. Like here, what kind of old thing like that, right?
But they don't. They really don't. For
Just bringing that kind of junk in my house. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But guys, it is time for a little break because we have a special guest in studio. It's Monday, so it's time for your usual edition of Traffic Talk. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on WINNMedia SKN.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention all drivers. I'm begging you to a day. Driver, what's your emergency? It's better late than never. So why all the hurry? Speeding is the main cause of plenty mishaps. The road is now a racetrack, threatening life and property, and all the result of that led to death and injury. Inconsiderate driving.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade Johnson. And it's time to jump into traffic talk with our friends in the traffic department. Welcome and good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevon. Good morning, everyone else. Good morning to you out there in Radio Land. My name is Sergeant Brown. I'm from the Police Traffic Department. And I'm here yet once more with our weekly edition of our Traffic Talk, which is aired right here on WIN FM every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. It's good to be here once more. I hope everyone had a restful, pleasant past week. I hope everyone is now fully charged and ready to face the week ahead of us. So, good to be here and good to be here. Yeah, I just want to inform persons that we, the Police Traffic Department, we've been up and about conducting our work, even though, yes, the work, the road, the island was on a shutdown. The police was not. We were still out there dealing with a number of accidents that would have occurred during the past week. Yes, we dealt with a number of accidents during the past week. And I just want to inform you that between Sunday, the 4th of July, that's Sunday, not yesterday, and Sunday, the 11th of July, there were 18 accidents reported to the police.
Excuse me?
18, that's 1-8.
What?
And I'm just speaking about St. Kitts.
That's in St. Kitts alone?
Just in St. Kitts alone, yes.
Wow.
18 accidents occurred between Sunday, 4th July, and yesterday. Of these 18 accidents, 1 accident occurred in the Oro district, 4 occurred in the Kevon policing district, and 13, that's 1-3 occurred in the Bastille district.
What?
Yes.
Wow. This.
Yeah, I could see you nodding your head.
Yeah, because I mean, that sounds like a lot under any circumstances,
That's
right?
good, yeah.
Like in a week, you know.
And there were a number of lockdown days during the past week.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So under normal circumstances, you don't want to hear about 18 accidents being reported.
Right.
But then during the time when less people on the road.
That is why I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Right.
I could shed some more light on that. Of the accidents that occurred in Bastille, 3 occurred on Wednesday, which was a 24-hour lockdown.
What?
1 occurred on Thursday, which was a partial opening. Yeah. And 8 occurred on Friday night. That's last Friday, which was another partial. And one occurred on Saturday. That's Saturday the 10th. And this was another 24-hour shutdown.
Wow.
Yes. Also, I could also add that in the rural district, the one that occurred in Oro, this happened on Friday, which was partial, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those that occurred in the Kevon district, that's on the 7th. One occurred on the 7th. This was a 24-hour lockdown. I think this would have been Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday, which was a 24-hour lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 3 others occurred on Friday, which was a partial lockdown.
I mean, I know
Yes.
it's early, and some
Yeah,
of this might still be a bit maybe under investigation or whatever. But
Yes, all under investigation.
I'm very curious to know what might have been.
What I mean,
any contributing
I'm also
factor.
informed that one that occurred in Kevon, there was injuries involved,
Oh no.
and that person,
boy.
a pedestal was involved as well.
What?
And this would have occurred. This happened sometime around midnight.
Midnight.
What?
It's
A
strange,
pedestrian at midnight during a 24-hour lockdown.
strange enough. And my information is that that person is hospitalized and the matter is under investigation. So.
Imagine you're up there on your sick bed and still getting a ticket.
Yeah, the last time I was here last week, I think you would have asked me as to the amount of tickets that were issued during COVID tickets. Yes, I could inform you and the public that up to yesterday, Sunday, there were about a total of 350 tickets issued. 350 tickets.
For
COVID tickets
yeah.
during the...
Yes, up to yesterday, Sunday.
But
And most of these tickets were persons who were not wearing masks, and also persons who were involved in organizing or keeping functions, which
there
they
were
not to.
functions.
Yeah, there were
Yes.
functions. There were functions.
Oh, I
Just-
thought we were supposed to be inside.
This is just by way of
Yeah, the functions were
information.
inside.
So yes, the police were busy. We were kept busy during the past week, unfortunately. So, but gladly too that there wasn't any loss of life. As I mentioned earlier, there was just one person injured in one of the accidents that occurred in the Kevon district, and we trust and hope that that person makes a full recovery. Just want to put that out there. So persons, even though yes, the country is now opened up, and we would be going on curfew would be starting tonight from 9 o'clock. So we still want persons to obey the curfew laws, and don't wait until it's 8:45, 10 to 9, 5 to 9 to start to make your way home. We want you to get home or start making your way in a timely manner, so you don't have to be rushing. Because most of these accidents occurred. Let me backtrack. Those accidents that occurred when the partial opening, most of them would have happened around the time when closing down.
Or people rushing to get
people
in.
rushing to get in.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
Yes.
If there's been any identification of contributing factors.
Yes, persons speeding,
okay.
trying to get off the road.
Okay, yeah.
Trying not
It's not
to.
worth it, guys.
It is
Yeah,
really
it doesn't.
not.
It doesn't worth it. So, one person to give yourself ample time to finish what you're doing, or whether you're shopping or your work, and give yourself enough time to reach home in time for the curfew when it starts. As I said, it would be starting tonight from 9 o'clock, and it will be up until 5 a.m. tomorrow. So, we just want persons to be mindful of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hopefully we could see a reduction in that. No, it's people just not weighing the risk enough. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they rush home. They might not reach home at all ever again.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so, and that is what we really don't want. We don't want persons to be rushing, speeding. Sometimes innocent persons get caught up.
Oh boy.
And as I said, you might not reach home on time, or you might not reach home ever again. So please,
Yeah.
people with the motorists, please take notice of this. We want you to continue to obey the speed limit. This unnecessary speeding doesn't make any sense. People speeding 5 to 6. You see people rushing to go home.
I think, and somebody on the live is actually making a point that I think is pertinent. The fact that for some reason people feel like there's less people on the road, so I now have a license to drive faster. For some reason,
One of the problems that we were facing too while we been out there managing the road and making sure that persons who are not allowed to be on the road. One of the problems that we, as the police were facing is that, yes, a number of persons would have been given passes, but the police has a right to stop any vehicle that is on the road. If you do have your pass, then you just present it to the officer. What we were facing is that persons who had passes, and they would get in a rage, they would get in a confrontation, argument as to I have my pass, so why are you stopping me? Yes, we have a right to
Well,
stop
how
you.
they gonna get your pass?
That's the
Yeah,
point I'm
and
trying to make.
the purpose of this
Yeah,
stopping
we have
is
to
check to see
make
if you have
sure
a pass.
everyone who is on the road is permitted, have a right to be there. So if you are stopped, please don't get upset with the police. It is our duty. We are duty bound to stop any vehicle, anyone who is on the road, and to verify whether you should be on the road or not. So that was one of the challenges that we were facing out there.
Yeah, one time I got stopped like 3 times on one journey one time.
And I sure you didn't get upset.
No, I just, yeah, but how they know I got my pass? How they know?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, we were facing a lot of that. Yeah. We faced a lot of that. So, but majority of the person, yes, they complied. They understood what our rule were. We were there, and they would say, "Officer, I'm glad that you stopped me, and this is my credential, this is my pass, and yes, you'll be free to go." Right.
Yeah. Oh, guys, for you guys listening, viewing, just want to remind you about you being able to call and join the conversation. Actually, we have one call on the line right now, Sergeant. Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sergeant Brown.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
And the other members in the studio.
Morning.
I am Sergeant David of the Tabernacle District. I just want to call in this morning and give kudos to the Prime Minister, Commissioner of Police, and other stakeholders that would have made it possible for us to have had a warm meal during the lockdown. Also, I would like to give kudos to WPC Butler and Nicholas, who are also responsible for providing for District B. I also would like to, this time, to say thank you to a very outstanding citizen in our division. I don't know if I could call his name, but I think he would mind, Dr. Alexander, who decided fit to bring us some refreshment while we were out on duty at the one about at night. And we would just like to encourage other members to be supportive of us as we continue to do our duty, because we are the frontline workers who are out there ensuring that persons remain safe. And that is the watchword of the police: safety and security. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, caller. And the caller identified himself as Sergeant Libert, who is in charge of the Tabernacle Policing District, and he's more popularly known as Cuban. Yes, I want to thank you, Sergeant Libert, for those words, those kind words. And yes, those words really went a long way. And you identified some of your staff. I want to also thank them for providing a warm meal for your district. So thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, the police, we were fed during those lockdown days. We got some nice, refreshing lunch.
Okay.
And it really went a long way.
Big up the community one
yes,
time.
we want to thank those persons who were instrumental in providing the lunch.
For sure.
Making sure that the police is well fed.
For sure, but we have another call on the line. Yeah. Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pardon my cynicism, but officer, if any motorist is ever having been stopped by the police, should respond, "Good evening, officer. I'm glad that you stopped me." That officer should immediately be suspicious of that motorist. I cannot imagine anybody who's looking forward to being stopped by a police officer, even in normal times. Thank you very much, sir.
And thank you very much, caller. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe just understanding the circumstances that we're in. You know.
Yeah. Thank you for your call, caller. And I hope that you call back. I'm sure you have something more to add to the program.
Yeah, but we have another call on the line. Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
I am trying to work out some maths in my head.
Yes.
I heard the PM say that buses can carry 10. How can they do that and manage the physical distance? Explain that to me.
Well, it's self-explanatory.
I'm going to hang up.
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, it's self-explanatory. 10 passengers. However, it suits best to be seated. I wouldn't want to go into as to how each person should be seated. But as long as you are carrying the maximum of 10 passengers, that is what is you're legally asked to do. So 10 passengers only could mean 10 passengers. Swallow. That's how I would respond to your query or your question. Thank you very much for that. Yes, so until we get the next call, as I was saying, the police officers out there, everyone was on deck. All police officers were on duty. We didn't have any, our rest days were ceased.
But let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
Sergeant, because this might be something that
Sure.
People may not be aware of, but I do not see a scenario where the police force was not affected in some way by either the illness or by having to quarantine. Is it safe to say that some of the officers were not available for service during this time?
Well, the pandemic, the illness, it did affected the rank and file of the department. A number of officers had to be quarantined,
Right.
self-quarantine as well.
So
But the work, it wasn't affected in any way, shape or form. Persons were still being asked to do. Those persons who would have been affected, their rule or the other person would have filled in the gap, if I could use that word.
right.
Yes, and so the work, it was not affected.
So I think
in
that's
any way.
commendable. I think that's
Yes.
commendable that even under the circumstances, there wasn't a real feeling of like, oh, the police short-handed
No.
or anything like that. We have another call on the line.
Yes.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk. All right, we lost our caller.
Yeah,
Let's see if we get this caller.
Okay.
Sorry. 1 second. Good morning, caller. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Good morning, gentlemen of Traffic Talk.
Good morning.
I was just traveling along Kevon Street in the vicinity of Uncle T's, and there was an empty bus that was going west along Kevon Street. And the amount of noise that bus was making, music-wise, I mean, it really hurt my ears. Can anything at all be done about the volume of music and other sounds that come out of these public transports? Because it is annoying to the public's ears, I must admit. I listen off here for the answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, caller. Caller, I must ask you if what you should have done. I mean, get the registration number of the vehicle, and yes, a report could have been made by you, and the report could have been made to the police, and the police would be charged to deal with that person. And the law speaks to noisy motor vehicles, and it's found here. 1 second. Yes, the Vehicles and Road Traffic Regulation. What did it speak to? It speaks to noisy motor vehicle regulation 25. It speaks that any person driving or in charge of a motor vehicle which causes a loud noise to the annoyance or disturbance of any person, that person commits an offense under these regulations. So, caller, yes, the law do speaks to noisy vehicles, and what would have been a good thing if you would have been able to make a note of the number, the registration number of that vehicle. I don't think you said a bus. I don't know if it was a passenger bus or a private bus, but in any case, the last do speaks to noisy vehicles. So you could have, I hope you did make a note of that number and report it to the police, whichever police station, the traffic department more so, and we will definitely look into it. So thank you very much for that, caller. Yes, so we are winding down. I just want to remind persons that the curfew starts tonight at 9 p.m. So persons, we are asking you to please do and whatever you have to do on time, finish whatever you have to do on time, and give yourself enough time to reach home safe. We don't want to see persons speeding as the curfew times approach. We don't want to see anyone speeding because it doesn't make any sense. You can injure yourself or you can injure someone. So please give yourself enough time, ample time, to reach home on time. Yes. So if you don't have any more call,
no,
just want to thank all those persons who would have tuned in, who have listened, and who definitely was a part of this program every week here. We want to thank you for being a part of the program. And also we want to thank our sponsor, Caribbean Alliance Insurance, for sponsoring this program every Monday. And also we want to thank the composer of our theme song, Slow It Down. That's the mighty Hollywood in Nevis. So until we meet again, I'm Sergeant Brown, and I want to ask everyone just to be safe on the road. Look out, not just for you, but look out for other road users as well, because the life they say you save could definitely be yours and also a family member. So please be safe. Until we meet again next week, Monday, same place, same time, I'm asking you to take care of yourself. Bye.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention all drivers. I'm begging you to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Too many stunt drivers on the road, man. With the fire day, driver, what's your emergency? It's better late than never. So why all the hurry? Speeding is the main cause of plenty mishaps.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts, Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade, Gwyneth, Gwen, Crass and Crude, Johnson.
DJ Crash just malfunctioned just now, but you got it back on track, Jade. You got it back on track. DJ.
Stop! Don't. What is this, man? Y'all annoying.
You gotta get your drop.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Jade got to be like.
Well.
Jade got the best. Well, no, I like Kevon really take the cake.
Thank you.
I think Kevon have the best aliases on the show.
Yeah.
But then you come up a close second.
There's only 3 of us, Azem. You don't have any.
That's what I'm saying. So you think so I suppose be happy I'm last? That's what you're trying to tell me?
Wait.
Yep. No comment, Gio. No, Kevon. Let's go.
So.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a little different, but
it sounded very Michael Jackson-esque.
Switch it up. No, because me did a lot of breathing.
Oh, sorry.
So, let's go over some key points from the Prime Minister's address that happened on the weekend, so we can give you guys some accurate information. One of these days, somebody can see me on the road and just like push me down, but it's okay. So, current 24-hour lockdown and the measures have expired on Monday, July 12th, 2021. Curfew is now from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. effective today, Monday, July 12th, 2021, and is in place for the next 2 weeks in the first instance. All persons employed in the public service, statutory bodies, or state-owned enterprises shall resume work on Monday, today, July 12th.
Go back.
All business places may return to normal working hours, subject to the curfew, and follow all COVID-19 protocols. Businesses include construction sector, barbershops, hair salons, which should have no more than 2 to 4 customers waiting based on the size of the establishment. So, even though you are allowed to operate, you still have to adhere to some measures. Failure to adhere to some measures will probably result in you losing your operational privileges, or you might get fined. Let's not find out which one it is. Just do what you're supposed to do. Awesome. So, next one is all vendors are to remain in the public market.
I hear that.
Let me read that one again. All vendors are to remain in the public market. And I think this goes for consumers as well. If you need something from your vendor, find them in the public market. Don't, let's not complicate things. Great. So inter-island travel between St. Kitts and Nevis will resume with all COVID-19 protocols being strictly observed.
Yay!
So,
finally go weekend.
Inter-island travel resumes. However, behave. All right. And if you have stopped, you should be able to look at the officers and say, "I am being have." So, churches can resume normal services with strict adherence to the COVID-19 protocols. Nurseries and daycare centers can reopen using the COVID-19 protocols previously established, but I think that has changed, right?
Well, they said that they're holding off on that one.
Yeah, so that one is a bit of a pause.
Which one is?
So
the one about nurseries and daycares.
Yeah, there was a communique put out.
Yeah, so I'll read that one after.
It's just that they can, but they're not.
Right. I'll read that one after we finish the point, so you can have a clear understanding of what that one means. So we also have bars and restaurants can resume normal operating hours, but subject to curfew and strict adherence to the protocols. Okay, so curfew is at 9 p.m. If the establishment closes at 7, leave. leave. Because that means we need to understand that these establishments, not because the curfew is 9 mean they close at 9, because the staff and the establishment, anybody in the establishment needs to be home by 9, so they have to close down and do what they do early.
Yes.
If they close at 7 to give provision for them to do what they need to do and leave to be home at 9, go home. Please.
Yeah, I've actually been at a place where I've heard that argument being used, like
What?
the place closed and the people, I'm telling them like the place closed and they're like, but it's not 9 o'clock yet.
Whatever.
Yeah,
like what?
They still have to pack up things.
I'm like,
they have to get home.
You sir are ignorant.
Quite.
I mean,
Quite.
this Matt's in for me. So, and you know, me and Matt ain't friends. Anyway, so sporting events will be allowed in accordance with the conditions outlined by the new SRO. Social gatherings will be permitted, but organizers must first apply for permission from the Commissioner of Police. So what they were doing before.
It's just me, but that ain't what the SRO knows, sir.
Excuse. What do you mean? What do you mean,
We
friend?
don't do that here.
No, it literally says no mass gatherings except for the exceptions. And then the exceptions outlined in the SRNO are basically funerals, weddings, limited beach activity. I think that was it.
Well, in the same SRNO, this point come from?
No, this is we talking about the Prime Minister's speech.
Yeah, but no, I think that was in the SRO too. That you could have events, but you have to apply for permission.
Jade, we're in the...
Let me go check again, because I'm pretty sure.
It literally has a section, no mass gatherings, and then it has the exceptions in section 10. Section 10 is the exceptions. I could tell you the...
Hold the phone, Azem. Hold the phone.
Okay. You may continue, Kevon, in the meantime. I stand to be corrected. Oh, well, I'm sitting.
So, sit to be corrected.
I sit to be corrected.
So, beaches will be open for exercise only. No beach parties or mass gatherings are allowed. Let me read that again. Beaches are now open, however, for exercise only. No beach parties or mass gatherings allowed. Awesome. And now number 12, which I think is a very important one, is quarantine for fully vaccinated incoming passengers will be reduced from 9 days to 3 days, with testing on the 4th day and released once test is negative. Children under 18 with fully vaccinated parents or guardians will be treated the same as their parents or guardians.
Yeah, by the way,
quarantine remains. Oh,
I'm still sitting.
Okay,
still sitting. Okay.
Yeah, this SRNO literally says no mass gatherings and makes no provisions for such types of events.
So then
which directly contradicts what the Prime Minister says.
Yeah, so there needs to be some clarification on that. But quarantine remains at 14 days for unvaccinated returning citizens and residents. Quarantine shall be at a government-approved facility or a hotel offering vacation in place. Those wishing to quarantine at home, the option is still there. However, you must apply, be approved, and pay for security to monitor you, because people don't want to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw somebody bring up a very good point about this one. Well, it sounded like a good point to me. I could be wrong. But they were saying the fact that only people who are traveling to St. Kitts have to hire security, because if you have to quarantine here at home, you don't have to.
Wait, what?
So if you're, let's say I
could come up with reasons for that though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So like, let's say I have to quarantine at home. But I didn't travel. Let's say I got exposed or came into contact with somebody who has corona, and now I have to quarantine at home. I don't have to have security and all of that, but somebody who is traveling in to the country has to have security.
Yeah. You see that?
I mean,
do you? Okay, let me put it this way.
Do you see that?
No, do you see a difference in the risk between the people who would have contracted it?
Yeah, I guess because we know the variant here, we don't know what variant they might have.
Jade for the win. Jade for the win.
Not just variants, but I think personally, entry is more controlled than citizens that are already in the country. So
What do you mean?
if you can control one's entry and track their entry, that is much easier than tracking somebody who's already here chilling out and about. It would be a perfect world. However, at one point we had 300 plus active cases. Where we gonna find 300 security guards to guard each person?
But not only that, I think that it's also, this plays into exactly what we've been doing this entire time, mitigating risk. Yeah, we can't put security guards by everybody's house. That don't mean that, but so that doesn't mean we don't put security by nobody.
Right. And then you're on top of that, you're asking persons to fork up, to randomly find and fork up $7,000 to isolate for 14 days.
Precisely. So then the thing is a decision that's being made for people who are coming in. This is part of,
right.
And those people have an option. So you
Right.
know, so you know ahead of time that this is what I'm expected. This is what so you make a decision to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing for me is literally. Is literally in the introduction of new variants into society.
That's the only one for me that really.
That is huge.
Because it's.
Just watch the BVI and then you'll understand.
No, understand with the new variant.
No, not you, but people who are not sure what we're talking about. Yeah.
So let me recap.
Control the borders and entry points.
Somebody's telling me they don't understand the quarantine thing. So quarantine, if you are vaccinated and you're entering the country, you still have to apply for all of the things you would have applied for originally. However, if you are fully vaccinated, your quarantine stay would have been 9 days. It has now been reduced to 3 days. However, let me refresh that. Technically, it's 4 days because you will quarantine for 3 days and be tested on the 4th day and released once negative.
That don't mean you're getting that test that 4th day.
So technically speaking, so technically speaking, you will be spending 4 days in quarantine, 3.5, on the 4th day is when you will be tested. And once the test comes back, you will be released. If you're not tested, if you haven't tested positive, shack up because you're 14 days in place.
You mean if you haven't tested negative?
No, if you tested positive, you're gonna now have to do the 14-day quarantine.
Okay.
So on top of that, if you are traveling with a child who is under 18 and you are vaccinated, the rules that apply to you now apply to the child. So if your unvaccinated child enters the country with you, the child also spends the 4 days. The child doesn't have to spend longer in quarantine. Okay? Great.
If you're fully vaccinated and you catch the Delta variant and you come home, you will be quarantined for 14 days. Because if you test positive, they will keep you in quarantine.
They'll keep in quarantine.
Yeah. They're not letting you go just because you did the 4 days. That literally, if you have corona, any variant, you'll be in quarantine.
And if at the end of the 14 days you're still positive, another 14 days.
Another 14 days.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Oh boy.
So let me read the clarification on the childhood development situation. So, in accordance to the recent statutory rules and orders, which makes clear the conditions for the reopening of early childhood centers, please be aware that all early childhood facilities will operate in accordance to the guidelines of the Ministry of Education. Therefore, parents and guardians are asked to note that all early childhood development centers will remain closed until they are authorized to provide service consistent with the protocols in place. A further announcement will be made after meeting with all of the early childhood providers. So all early childhood employees are asked to be present for work to facilitate the efforts to prepare the centers for the return of children later this week. So they are not open yet because there's conversations that need to be done in accordance with the guidelines with the Ministry of Education. So, okay, awesome.
Yeah, like my son's teacher told us that because this facility was closed for so long, they still have to go in and clean and prepare and all these things. So there was no way for them to open today.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a situation that's being faced by quite a few businesses today, where they're using today to actually prepare for whoever it is they service. and may not actually be operational or fully operational today.
Because you need to have like a deep clean, wipe down all surfaces, just make sure it's safe. It's a safe environment for who's coming.
And sometimes it's just prep too. Based on what the business does, you might need some lead time to prep to be able to offer whatever service. So, yeah, I think today, maybe tomorrow, in the next few days, some businesses are going to have to take some time just to get back up to full operation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see where we go from here.
Well, that, sir, has been the question.
So next up, we'll talk about CPL. So the CPL T20 to be held at half capacity and only for fully vaccinated persons, which has been stated in the beginning. So it's supposed to be no surprise to nobody. So if you're interested in attending the CPL T20 cricket games in August, you have to be fully vaccinated to gain access. The Warner Park Cricket Stadium is already set to accommodate half capacity, which is 4,000 of its 8,000 seats. Persons interested in attending the games have to be fully vaccinated, and people who are under the age of 18 years old who cannot be vaccinated due to the fact that vaccines are not being administered to children would have to be accompanied by an adult who is fully vaccinated to gain entry to the games.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think you could just not bring them.
I was about to say. But hey,
you could just not bring them.
Mean to the children, eh?
Nobody be mean to the children.
Wait, not well. I mean, to be honest, right? The game times might make it a little difficult for you to bring kids anyway. So
Why?
Which is my point. I mean,
they ain't doing nothing.
They're gonna be in school.
Yeah, but
remember,
I mean,
CPL runs from the ending of August to September. So they're gonna be in school. I mean, school ain't open in September.
Okay, you just said August.
The ending of August, but it went into September.
Right.
Yeah, so they're gonna be in school.
Okay.
For that, well, they're gonna got 2 games. I mean, they have games on the weekend too, so yeah.
I wasn't even going to go there. I wasn't even going to.
They need to stay home and study. They have homework. Azem said, leave your kids at home, people. You heard it here first. By Azem.
Yeah, I did say that.
I know.
Oh, he has also a report from the Honorable General Powell. He also stated that more than 90% of the CPL cohort has been fully vaccinated, and the remaining half has not been vaccinated. Not half. The remaining batch has not been vaccinated because of the lack of vaccine availability in their countries. So some persons were able to get vaccinated, some weren't. However, they have a 90% vaccination rate in the cohort. So cricketers in some aspects should be good.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, the plan is that people involved in the CPL, especially from administrative,
they have to be fully vaccinated.
Not only fully vaccinated, but I think isolated in terms of.
Oh yeah, there's a CPL bubble, man.
Yeah, there's a bubble. So I think that they're doing
a full month.
They're doing what they have to do, I guess, to try and minimize any Rona leaks.
Yep, definitely.
Any Rona trickles.
Rona leaks.
Rona tinkle.
Somebody is saying, right? It's in regards to the fact that the schools and centers are still closed, that you're asking the same parents to come out to work and they have no place for their children. Arrangements could have been made last week to do the preparatory cleaning. I don't have an answer for that.
I have an answer. Like if we do, like, everybody would have wanted to come out last week to prepare for this week. If we just decided that people could come out to prepare, like, what's the purpose of that now?
Okay.
Right. I mean,
somebody else.
Make it work, guys. Make it work. Like, make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
my
things
whole thing
are
is
going to be things are difficult. Like, things aren't perfect. Like, make it work.
Yeah.
So
because we also realized that if we had to do that, then they might as well have just ended things early, because everybody gonna say, I need to prepare. I mean,
yeah. So somebody is saying, how does the country make money in a CPL bubble? The bubble is only for the players and CPL staff, anybody working.
Okay, hold on.
No, you got it. Take it.
No, I think what's important to note is that things like this contribute to the economy in a multitude of ways. Like, because all of the games are happening here, we have a unique opportunity to shop St.
Yep.
Now, the hope is that there's plans in place to maximize that type of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we're looking at something like vast influx of people coming to the country to watch the games. Like, the way that we benefit from this CPL is not the way that we would have benefited had it happened in 2019. Mm-hmm. It's a different set of different set of benefits. And so, yeah, getting money now is one thing, but I do believe that there are other consequences that would come out of us having the CPL.
Yeah.
Positive
I think this is more of a calculated long-term play than an immediate cash grab, you know.
Yeah. Because the people, whether or not even if the people weren't in a bubble, like, I don't know how feasible it would have been for a lot of people to be traveling to St. Kitts for the CPL.
Yeah.
You know where I'm coming from? Like, in terms of tourists, like people who are going to be supporting the shops, people are going to be in a lot of the hotels or short-term rentals, that kind of thing. Before, you would have people who would just kind of bounce around to the different islands. And you'd probably still have some of those people. But think about it this way, like, a traveler coming to watch the CPL has to come in a few days before. Do the little quarantine. The good thing is that it's now not 14 days anymore before you could go out and see the game. You stay 4 days. So you could come in literally a few days before the matches start, and then you could stay for like a month. And we'll probably have some of those people come in, but I don't think that is who we think. The truth is that St. Kitts is going to be at the center of the cricketing world for a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So advertisers and all these people are going to buy in, and the money ain't coming to us. I was just
but the people, like I'm saying, is I think it's important for us to, during that time while the eyes are on the CPL, to also recognize that the eyes are on St. Kitts, and how do we maximize that type of exposure, right? I think that is what's important, and I'm hoping that there's enough foresight and planning and proper execution for us to maximize that. But in terms of like traditional benefits, in terms of people coming in, people going to the boutiques in town, people going to the restaurants, that wouldn't be as much as we would have seen in years past.
Yeah. So I'm more of a marketing play than it's just some massive marketing for the country. So I think it's great.
It's like asking like why you talk your horse in the Olympics.
Don't get me started on that.
Well, we have time for just one more thing before we
go
to break. Yes, let's do that.
Yes. So police are continuing to appeal for the public assistance and the safe return of a missing individual. So, as investigations into 2 missing person reports continue, the police are also continuing to implore persons to come forward and assist with their safe return. 26-year-old Ashton James of Taylor's Village was reported missing by his girlfriend, who last saw him on June 11th, 2021 at about 8 a.m. He was last seen by a friend at Pond's Pasture wearing a red short-sleeve shirt and brown pants. 68-year-old Purcell Hope of Newtown was also reported missing by his son, who last saw him in Stapleton on June 19, 2021 at about 7 p.m. He was wearing a black tam on his head, a brown shirt, green pants, and no shoes. Superintendent with responsibility for crime, James Francis, assured the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that police are trying to follow every lead. In both cases, we have conducted several searches in a number of areas. We have interviewed several individuals. We have collected several items of evidential value. We are trying to piece together all of the information that we have, but we need as much assistance as possible. A big part of our investigation includes the information passed on to us by the persons who might have seen something or heard something or even know something. For example, we have visited the Molyneux area because persons reported having seen Mr. Hope in the village. So officers went to the locations where it was said he was seen and the surrounding areas. He also added that investigations to date have been extensive and said that the goal was to ensure that the missing men were safe and have them returned home to their families. So of course, they're asking the public to lend any assistance they can. Call the Bastia Police Station at 465-2241 or visit your nearest police station or call. You can even call the crime hotline at 707 to give tips, which are anonymous. So, yeah.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, this is terrible. Hopefully there's a positive end to this, but like Kevon said, if you have any information at all, please don't hesitate. A lot of times we like to believe that perhaps something we saw, it might not be important or whatever, but yeah, don't make that assumption. Even if you're not sure what you saw, make a call, give the information. The information you give just might save a life.
So, I mean, we like I said, like we said all the time, anything, you know, like I just read that the superintendent spoke about, even if you saw the person, you didn't interact with them, if you saw them, you remember the time, you remember the location, say something. It can be just what they're looking for to help them find something you need to find, any and everything helps. This breaks my heart.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, sorry to leave y'all on a
right? They don't even know where to go from here.
Yeah, sorry to leave you guys on a low note, but we have to take a break because our guest is waiting, and we will be right back with more Island Tea on WINNMedia SKN. Stay tuned.
Different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
I have a surprise for mosquito, roach, and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Pop makes all of them die. To take care of my premises, I have to stand guard. Pop kill insects, small or large. When me use my yard, me no need no bodyguard. Pop takes care of roach in a house and yard. Surprise for mosquito, roach, and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Get serious, get Pop.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
Cool. Energize your goals with Lucozade. Get it cool. Look under the cap. Find the code with it. Thousands in prizes, iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
We're
chance to win $30,000 US. Purchase any Lucozade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win. iPhones, TVs, and free Lucozade for $30,000 US to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucozade, taste the energy.
Welcome back to Island Tea with your faves, Kevon and Azem, featuring Jade. And it is time to jump into Eat Local with Dr. Janice Daniel-Hodge. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Thank you for coming.
Well, being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. She didn't actually come anyway, no?
No. She's actually in Nevis, so even though boat transportation is now a thing again.
Yeah, she's still with us.
Still in Nevis, yeah.
But we do appreciate you joining us on the show this morning. It's a real pleasure to have you here to speak to us.
My pleasure. I was listening to you a bit earlier. Quite interesting, quite an array of issues. The new orders, the traffic incidents, etc. I must say also that I listened was it last week, and now for the first time I'm seeing Kevon, and what I can remember from the discussion you had with Lesroy Williams was that
that he broke out. Yes, we know.
Yes. So, but yes, we all have different sides, and that sometimes we have to be very serious and very responsible, and at other times we can have a good time and enjoy ourselves. Understanding our culture, there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, but understanding that there's a time for play and there's a time for work, etc.
Right.
For sure. But and thanks for listening. Sounds like we have a new fan, guys.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Right.
I must say that I have Mr. Cornelius, Devon Cornelius. I think he has increased your fan base quite significantly.
Okay. Big up Devon one time.
Yes, to listen to Win FM, and so I'm almost addicted to where I tune in from time to time and I listen to the shows. So.
Oh, look at that!
Imagine that. Big up Devon one time.
Yes.
I gotta give him a trophy, bye.
We do.
Right.
But doctor, for those people who are listening, in particular, some of our Kittian brethren and sistren who may not know exactly who you are and what role you play in the political landscape here in the Federation. Please enlighten us.
Right, well, thank you for that opportunity. As you would have indicated, my name is Dr. Janice Daniel-Hodge. I actually grew up in Brown Hill. My mother, her name is Rosita Daniel from Brown Hill, and my father is the late, right, excellent Dr. Sir Simeon Daniel.
Legend.
He grew up in Barnsworth in St. Thomas's Parish. Many persons would know him. He was the first Premier of Nevis and was declared a national hero in 2013. I have 5 living siblings. I have 2 adult sons and 1 beautiful granddaughter. Yes, I do. I have a large family network here on Nevis, some in St. Kitts as well, in the USVI, Canada, England, and the USA. And that is as a result of my family members migrating back in the 60s and 70s and establishing families in these different areas. And so whenever I have an opportunity to speak about myself, they let me know that I must recognize them because they're in these areas and they're listening. So your fan base may increase after my presence here today. So I attended the Prospect Primary School, which is now the Ivor Waters Primary School in St. John's Parish. And later I attended the Charlestown Secondary School here in Nevis. After high school, I traveled abroad to further my education. I completed my A-levels in England. I then moved to New York, where I completed my bachelor's degree. I completed my master's degree in Alabama, in the USA. And then recently enough, I completed my doctorate at the University of the Virgin Islands. And so after working abroad for a number of years, I decided to return home. I just have a natural love for Nevis. Most of my siblings who traveled abroad ended up staying abroad, but I returned back home just about 20 years ago. And ever since that time, I've been residing in St. James Parish. Most people know it as a parish with the airport. Most people know it as a parish with the most fish landing sites. Most people know St. James's as the area that has the most potential for development under proper governance. And so I was quite happy to move here. I will tell you a little bit about myself professionally. I am an environmental consultant, a businesswoman, and a very strong advocate for sustainable development, the Sustainable Development Goals, and of course, community empowerment. I have been a high school teacher. I have been a college instructor. I have been a natural resource manager. And I would say as a college instructor, I would have taught at the University of the Virgin Islands for several years and developed quite a number of long-lasting relationships because many students who would have traveled from across the Eastern Caribbean, they were quite happy to see someone from Nevis as a lecturer. And so they sort of gravitated towards me. And so a number of those relationships still exist today. Yeah, so I was a bank director at the Bank of Nevis. I was actually the chairperson at the bank for a period of time. And I am the founder and managing director of my environmental consulting firm. I'm also the co-founder of several not-for-profit organizations. And these not-for-profit organizations has to do with community empowerment, has to do with the sustainable use of marine resources, etc. I have worked with governments in various jurisdictions. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I worked with the government through the Department of Marine Resources and the Ministry of Sustainable Development to establish the Conservation Trust Fund, also to help develop the marine managed area around St. Kitts and Nevis. My special interest really professionally is to explore the blue-green economy, to build sustainable livelihoods. I think that there was a very big disconnect between the potential of the blue-green economy to build small island developing states and what we carve out as important in our country in trying to build our economy. And so I'm a very strong advocate for the blue-green economy and making the link between economic development and exploring our natural resources. In 2020, just last year, I was elected a political leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. And this is a role that has taken me a bit away from my comfort zone, but I found the courage and the inner strength to take on this role because of what I was seeing happening around me. And you are in a situation where you have traveled abroad, you have looked at different countries, you have actually seen and participated in the development of some of these countries. And once I recognized that so much more can be done for Nevis, if I'm in a better position to share the type of vision that we would need to have going forward, then I felt compelled. And so I am someone who is not very much in the spotlight. Many persons only really began to know me when I got involved in politics, but I have been in the background for a very long time, building my consulting firm, working with nonprofit groups, helping them to empower themselves, helping them to build resilience to the impacts of climate change, etc., and really contributing to a lot of white paper studies and developing management models and these sorts of things. At the University of the Virgin Islands, where I did my doctoral studies, my dissertation title was Establishing a Link Between Environmental Stewardship and Creativity in Small Island Developing States. And so we often understand that we are blessed to be living on islands. We are blessed to have the natural resources around us, but understanding how you can really leverage those natural resources, our marine environment, our heritage sites, our intellectual capabilities. How can we really leverage these to have a stewardship for the environment, but then at the same time, building much better livelihoods, creating employment opportunities? There is a big disconnect in that area. And I see so many opportunities here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I feel blessed really to have decided on the career path that I did. I must say earlier, as a young child, I felt a bit neglected, and I'll tell you why. I have 3 older siblings, and growing up, I would always hear my brother would be a lawyer and my sister would be a doctor. And I would ask, what about me? Oh, you can be whatever you want to be.
Wow.
So, I mean, now we see things a little bit different, where some families are saying, they want all of their children to be doctors or lawyers, etc. But I think from a very early age, that given the opportunity to just explore and let my mind wander and try to find out what it is I really like to do, it helped me not to be very narrow-minded and to open myself up to many different opportunities. And so where I ended up looking at environmental management, my degrees are actually in biology, microbiology. And at one time I was really thinking about being a physiotherapist because I'm a great sports fan. I love sports. I played a little bit. I ran track in college. I played tennis with my college group. And so I was thinking about doing that. But then more and more I found myself getting more in touch with nature. I love the ocean. And one of the reasons why I'm living where I'm living is because I have a very nice view of the ocean. I'm able to actually look at the Narrows, which is one of our most biodiverse areas in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so just enjoying the ocean type environment draw me to this area where I'm living right now. And recognizing how much we can do is really one of the reasons why I have decided to take that next step, because we're really in a situation where we can do better. And
well, so, Doctor, it's interesting that you mentioned, that particular part of your childhood, because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, this woman has been involved in so many things on so many different levels. How does one get to a place where they're willing to explore so widely so many things? And it really highlights to me, that how that actually starts at childhood, and how you because here you are, the leader of a political movement in Nevis, having taught, having worked in the private sector, having worked along with the government, having worked in the environment, having worked in, and it's like, how does one person have all this experience?
Where does she find the time?
Well, that's a whole other thing. But one of the things that was interesting to me, based on what you said, is that you perhaps, of all the things that you were exploring, it doesn't sound as if initially you saw yourself being involved in politics, at least not to the capacity that you are now. What was how did the call happen? How did that happen? I know you said that you recognize that there is scope for Nevis to do more on the good governance. But what was that process like, you getting the call?
Well, I would say that I think growing up around my family, and especially my father, who was into politics.
That's an understatement.
Yes, well, he did quite a lot, right? And so I grew up around him, understanding really what it means to be proud of your country. I don't think anybody was more proud of Nevis and St. Kitts and Nevis than my father was. I understood what it means to have respect for people and to, see all persons as equal, regardless of your financial status, your professional status. All persons are equal at the end of the day. I mean, he was somebody who believed very strongly in saying that we pass on this earth only once, so whatever good we can do for mankind, let us do it now. And so these are some of the things that I grew up around, understanding and seeing. And so getting to a point where I realized that Nevis was on a path to prosperity, and the NRP government would have taken a certain position, build the party based on certain principles, those principles of inclusivity, those principles of integrity, independent, being self-reliant, and looking at what was happening. When the NRP was in power, we saw Nevis on a trajectory to self-determination, self-sustenance, etc. And where we are today, the people of Nevis, most people, some people say people like change, some people say people do not like change. I think it depends on the situation. But the people of Nevis decided to take a chance on a new political party. And unfortunately, we have seen the demise of Nevis since then. And that turning point for me, that turning point came about, I think, during the last election, the last federal election, when the party government would have campaigned heavily that they would provide greater representation for Nevis if they gained all 3 seats in the federal cabinet. And people bought into that message that yes, we can have greater representation for Nevis. But the problem is that when that party decided that we won all 3 in the federal election, and we're going to win all 5 in the local election. Now, here is a party that's thinking that they want to control Nevis. And the problem is that they have not been working well for Nevis. They have not performed. They have bought Nevis. Nevis was at a place where we basically had more employment. We could have negotiated constitutional changes, etc., because of our strong economic position. Now we're in a position where we're reliant on the government of St. Kitts. And I must clarify, I'm not saying that there is no obligation between the federal government and the NIA, but there is a difference when you are self-reliant, when you can take care of the needs, and additional funding can help you to develop the country even more. What we saw during the last federal election and what was being put out in terms of winning all 5 seats in the local election, and a government that really has no empathy, a government that does not really have the people, the interests of the people at heart, those are the things that really moved me inside. And when you hear people struggling, people are struggling, no new developments coming to Nevis, no employment opportunities, or people have to go to St. Kitts to work, and there's nothing wrong with going to St. Kitts to work. I think that should be an option. It should not be that is the only means of you taking care of your family. And I speak many times of a situation that I witnessed where, young mother trying to advance herself, having to go to St. Kitts to CFBC, leaving the child at home, child falls ill, and what does that mother have to do? Imagine the struggles of having to try to get back over from St. Kitts to Nevis to try to tend to the care at hospital. Why is it when we would have made so many strides as far as education is concerned? We have the Nevis Sixth Form College, but what have we done in Nevis since then to advance or enhance the quality of life for the people living on Nevis? And so we saw it where it's almost a situation where once St. Kitts is there to help us, then the people of Nevis ought not for themselves or for ourselves. And that is something that understanding that self-reliance and self-determination is a big part of what the NRP stood for. When we got the NIA returned to Nevis, where we can make our own laws and ordinances and leverage funds to take care of certain situations. When all of that was brought back to Nevis, and we saw how it worked well in those past years, and we see how it is being neglected, basically the authority and the powers that we have in Nevis is being set aside because you have a government that does not really understand that creating employment opportunities is a big, big part of any government's responsibility. And so when you look at what would have been happening, businesses and establishments that were brought to Nevis under the NRP government, you would see them leaving or decreasing or downsizing under this current government. And the very painful part about it is that you would understand, you would hear these people saying, oh, that's a business decision. How can it be a business decision when we know in small islands, we grant a number of concessions, a number of incentives to attract businesses to our islands. And so when we attract these businesses, we give certain trade-offs because we know you're going to employ our people. And so when you decide, well, it's not working out for me now as a business, and you decide, well, I'm going to close up my doors and leave, how can a government just sit back and say, oh, it's a business decision? What happened to the number of persons who would have been working and they're now unemployed? And the government is not bringing in any new development businesses. So we find ourselves in a situation where we're becoming increasingly reliant on St. Kitts and a government who right now find the means and ways by creating a lot of blurred lines between what is wrong and right during elections. A lot of blurred lines. What was considered wrong at some point in time before is now seen as a new norm. And this is the way that we have to go. And so what does it benefit Nevis and the people of this country if persons are just getting into government to look out for themselves or for a few persons? And so those are the things that really nabbed at me. And my father, he said to me at one time, once you have tried your best, that is all I ever ask of you, try your best. And once you have tried your best, then know in your mind that angels can do no more. And so when we suffered the last loss in the federal elections, and the cry and the jubilation about we're going to win all 5 in the next election, I just found that courage and that inner strength, and I refer to it as the soul strength, because it came from within. And I'm not a person who really have a lot of interest in spotlights and being in the camera and these sort of things. I mean, a number of places that I have worked, you would not see my name or because I pass it on to the government institution. And so it was never about being in the spotlight for me, but understanding that you cannot sit back. So the pain and agony for me sitting back and doing nothing was greater than having to now come forward, step forward and ensure that I do my best to prevent Nevis from falling off the precipice, so to speak.
Well,
so yes.
So what I'm hearing is that you recognize that there was a need for a difference in terms of the approach in terms of governance, and you felt that you could contribute in that way towards that by becoming taking up the mantle in terms of leadership of the NRP. The question I have for you though is, after, and you mentioned the results of the last election, after those results, there was a lot of talk about the future of the party and the need to revamp, to refresh, perhaps reposition. Do you agree, one, and do you see yourself, if you do agree, as being a catalyst for that type of change?
That's a very good question, because really, and sometimes you sit back and you take things for granted, and it's only when you realize that you really cannot sit back anymore. And here is almost, you're seeing a party that is threatening to make your party extinct, and you know that your party is best in terms of what it stands for the people, etc. And so I did not necessarily, I was not seen as someone who is in the belly, in the gut of the politics, so to speak. But it doesn't mean that I was not around and aware and obvious of what is going on. Like I said, people sometimes they recognize the need for change. Sometimes people want change, sometimes people do not want change. But at that time, and the need to revamp the party, I think going back to the principles upon which the party was founded, in terms of putting people first and foremost, being a party of inclusion, being a party that stands on the pillars of integrity, etc., is important. And so coming into the party at this point in time, I think a number of persons who would say, wow, Janice has to be really moved to take on such a mantle at this point in time, and would take the time to listen and to understand that what I'm bringing to the party at this point in time is really a new face and a new direction and a new vision for the party. And right. I would say, if you look at where we are right now in terms of our candidate selection, there are some who would feel that you have to be a hardcore NRP person to really carry the mantle of NRP. And where we are at the party at this point in time is, I keep going back to the principles of our party, one of inclusivity. We cannot afford to be a party that is just staying close to home and not broadening our arms and accepting persons who share the same vision that we have. And so having a clear vision is something that is very important, and persons need to be able to look to and understand and recognize this is something that we can work towards. Now, why that is important is because when NRP got into power initially, the focus, and I would say more so my father's focus, was on secession for Nevis. And there is that, big drive about self-determination and independence, etc. And so everything that was done during that time on the NRP was to position Nevis and to get Nevis ready for when secession did come. We would have our financial institutions, we would have our educational institutions, we would have our land reform program, we would have the tourism sector up and going. And so there must be something that drives you to get to a point where your country can be self-reliant. And so the vision that I have for Nevis at this point in time is really centered around the blue-green economy. And this is something that I have worked, this is an area that I have worked in. I have helped to establish marine parks, marine managed areas. I've helped to build resilience to climate change impacts, etc., and understand fully how you can leverage the funding available for climate change adaptation and mitigation to job creation. And I think that oftentimes we look at projects and we look at a small project and as a one-off. Once you have an overarching vision of how you're going to leverage the protection and conservation of your country with job creation opportunities, then it is a lot different then. So understanding that we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and these goals are universally recognized and accepted, is like global currency, then my aim is to ensure that for the next election, NRP gets elected, and we can move Nevis forward to an area of natural resource management, repurposing agriculture, so many different areas that we can look at under that framework. That my aim really is not to get in so that people can get to know me. It's really to get in so that we can put Nevis back on a path to prosperity. And I dare say that once we're able to do that with the experience that we have within the party, a clear vision of where we need to go, then that is very doable. One of the problems that we have right now in Nevis is that there is no clear vision. There is no clear vision, there is no clear path. And so it's very difficult to have a conversation to get people to share where you want to go. And so anybody who comes in that can offer an idea, yes, you accept that idea, but it doesn't really take you to that full extent that you would want to go to. Right. And yeah, so having that clear vision is important. Having that approach where all persons are equal, understanding that right now there is victimization is something that is very much present in our civil service, and understanding that I am in this for the love of Nevis and all the persons who live on Nevis. And so we have a clear vision. We have 5 very vibrant candidates, and what I love about our candidates, 5 candidates that we have, is that we're all very people-centric. We all have career paths of dealing with people and helping people and understanding and hearing the cries. And people talk about the majority female slate that we have, and we know that at times such as this, where times are changing, we're now dealing with the issues of COVID-19 and how do we bounce back after that. You need a government who's going to be understanding, that's going to be caring. When we look at the studies that show, well, COVID-19 really affects men and women pretty much about, there's no big difference. Well, you cannot say there's no big difference, because we understand how many mothers work in hotels and in restaurants as waitresses and housekeeping, etc. And so while those persons actually come down with the disease, you may not see a big difference. You must recognize that women are impacted a lot more. When the children cannot go to school, who usually stays home with the children? And when parents cannot, do not know how, business, the country's open back up and I have to go to work, what am I going to do with my child? Now, no sense to say that we do not have a lot of single mothers. We do have a lot of single mothers, and these are things that you really must, look at when you're making decisions. And so having women who understand the global picture, but who can also relate to the struggles that people are feeling here in the country right now, I think is very important, because the thing about COVID-19 is that it's not static. It's not static, and your decision making ought not be static. But when you're making decisions, you must be able to relate to the population and feel and understand what people are feeling out there and how best can you respond to those situations. Can you imagine a government where people have been laid off? I mean, in St. Kitts and Nevis, it's a little bit different. After government, our largest employer was the Four Seasons Hotel. And people are laid off through no fault of their own. They're willing to work, they want to work, but they cannot work. But here now is a government that is going to say, well, your electricity is going to be cut off tomorrow, your water is going to be cut off the next day. How do you really feel about people? Do you really care about what people are feeling, how they're struggling, how they're making ends meet? And so these are some of the things. I think more so is talking to people and understanding some of their concerns and knowing that the government can help, can be more empathetic. And so having a slate of candidates that are really people-centric is very important to helping us address some of the issues that we have. And so at this point in time, my being, leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, I think that goes a long way to bringing a new image of the party and to symbolize basically that this is not a situation, we are open. And I speak so much about the issue of inclusivity. I mean, I understand the importance of collaborating. I mean, I have seen instances where, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between the NIA and the population. There's a disconnect between the NIA and the federal government. And so understanding that collaboration is one of the key aspects of coming up with creative ideas and new solutions. How can you be part of a team and not contribute to the development of solutions? And then when the solutions are presented, you tear them down or you come up with your own solutions. No, that's not the way that we want to see things.
Right. I totally understand. And what I'm getting from you is that the party is at a place now where it's trying to, or its goal is to get back to the core values of the party, which you mentioned, and that you recognize that if you do moving forward with this new focus in terms of using our natural resources as a way to really bolster the situation that we have here, improving self-reliance, that you think that the nation could definitely be in a better place than it is right now. I think that's very important for us to recognize, and it sounds as though there are concrete plans in place, like you mentioned, vision, and it seems as though you do have a vision for where you would want to see Nevis and the people of Nevis moving to. I know that we could stay here and talk for another 2-3 hours, but we've gotten to the place where we're gonna have to say goodbye. Time has definitely run out on us, but we really want to thank you for taking the time to come and speak to us, telling us about yourself. You did say you're not necessarily one for the limelight, but I think you've definitely shown light on who you are, your background, your past, and where you look to be going in the future. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I'm just so sorry that the time is so short, but I'll be happy to come back another time and speak a little bit more about what's going on. And our hashtag right now is change must come, Nevis first, because once we have Nevis first, then it's better for the country, right? It's a situation we really want to be able to be self-reliant and capitalize on what other benefits we can get from other sources. And so thank you very much for having me, and I'll continue listening to the show, and I wish you all the best. Stay safe during this period. Do not let down your guard. The country is open, but understand that there are variants out there, and we are not certain how these variants will impact us. And so the non-pharmaceutical measures, I encourage everyone to still comply and to stay safe as much as possible. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you again. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best in your endeavors as well, guys. It's come to that point where we're gonna have to bid you adieu, aka home time, aka go on the road and see all of you gotta go work today. We've been working all the time. Take a turn.
No rest for the weary.
No rest for the weary. But hey, watch your idea studying. Usually after the show, I go, I get some breakfast and whatever. Not today. Work time now. Things. Bye.
Inside you go. Man your stations, people.
Man your stations. But yeah, guys, it's been a really good start to the week. Guys, again, we just want to implore you to stay safe. to remember that we're not out of the woods yet.
Nope.
There's been the talk back and forth about open, don't open, what we should do, when we should do it. This is where we're at. We're at a place where we're back out. We saw what happened when we had some cases around and people were just all willy-nilly living life.
And how easy it was for this thing to get out of hand.
Right. So we don't want to get back to a position where we have to go back into what we're dealing with. And so it's about taking personal responsibility. It's about doing what you have to do, being safe for you, being safe for the people around you. And I think if we do that, I think we stand a better chance at managing the situation that we're in. So please do your part.
Yes.
Big up all the people that joined us on the live. Big up all the people that listening to us on the radio. I'm kind of hoping that the bus that the caller was complaining about was actually playing Island Tea.
I hope so.
But all the people who have Island Tea running. Hey, and for those of you who started looking at Island Tea on your forced vacation, tell your bosses that, hey, you can't start me there without my tea. I need my tea in the morning.
It's inhumane.
Come on.
I know a lot of offices have TVs where they put on news. We are news.
Indeed.
Kinda.
Indeed.
Sometimes.
Majority.
Put us on.
Majority.
There's something.
Yeah.
Something.
We're entertainment and news.
Hey.
But people, before we go, stay locked to Win FM. We have voices coming up next with Mr. Socrates.
Socrates?
Yeah. Wonder what he gonna talk about today.
Haul your donkey.
He needs to start his show by playing.
Haul your mule.
By playing his song.
Haul you. We gotta go.
Yes.
But we gotta go. We gotta leave. In the words of the soca poet, His Excellency Sir Mr. World. We gotta go. We gotta leave. We gotta disembark. Oh, guys, but yeah, remember you could check us out on YouTube and Facebook at WINNMedia SKN, and you could check us out directly at our Instagram page, Island T SKN. Like, share, comment, be a part of the conversation, be a part of the fun. We really appreciate all of you who take time out and be a part of this community. It really does feel like a community. I feel more like a family.
Yeah.
Big up Witty, big up Axman, J2D. Yes, Caribbean man, I see you got a lot of things to say on the live lately. You're on Jose, but
and Cleo.
Well, Cleo is our friend.
Yes.
Is our friend. So.
And Theo.
And Theo. And if Theo does this, man.
I'm here on a choice.
But yeah, guys, take care. And as we leave, we're gonna hear from the Duke of Frigipe himself, the Prosecco Papi, the one who Dr. Janice was probably thinking married about. Yeah.
The team, Kevon's team.
Yeah, he's still a man for road, so she gotta be careful.
Yeah.
But the man with the $1 million smile, the chapstick done, the slim guard, the Pope of Hygiene himself, Sir Kevon Hanley.
But remember that you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you tomorrow.